Guys, Roxana from the blog aquaintlifeblog.com, and today I want to talk to you about some books. Welcome back to my channel. As you know, this channel is all about elevating the everyday, and I do that through various ways. We talk about cooking on this channel and home remedies and beauty remedies, and lately I've been getting a lot of great comments on the homemaking series I've been working on. So thank you for your comments and your questions and your emails on that. I will continue with that series, and I have another video coming up shortly. Today I want to talk to you about books, as I mentioned in the opening, because books for me have been a huge factor in my life as far as elevating myself and my everyday. I have always been a reader. As a child, I would sit in my room and read for hours and just get lost in books. And as an adult, I find that it has gone from just reading fictional books or books that were for entertainment, and it has veered into spirituality and has veered into self-improvement, and I'm all about improving myself, and I want to share a bit of that here with you on this channel because I really feel like it does elevate the everyday when you are exposing your mind to beautiful things. Now, if you're not much of a reader, this is probably not a very exciting video for you. However, I do want to mention Audible because that is a service that I also have in addition to just having physical books. And sometimes it's even cheaper to use Audible because you never lose the credit on Audible. I always have those books, and I feel like it's worth mentioning Audible because we're homemakers and moms, a lot of us, and we're cooking and cleaning, and sometimes it gets pretty mundane, and it's nice to pop on an audio version of a book if that is your way of reading. And sometimes I don't have time to physically read a book, so having that as a service is very beneficial for me, and I find that I can get through books a lot faster because sometimes in a day I'm just too tired to sit there and physically read at night. So during the day, it's also something to really look forward to. If you don't have that service, it's not very expensive, and they give you, I think, a credit or two actually to try them out. So go ahead and check them out if you're not much of a reader. And no, they didn't sponsor this post, but I definitely feel like they are a great service, so I will mention them. Now, the first book I'm actually very excited to tell you about because it was one from Audible, and I didn't actually get a hard copy of that book in particular, and I got it and I was floored with the writing. It is Nobody Will Tell You This But Me by Bess Kalb. Now, all the books I'm mentioning today will be in the description below, so you can find them easily with author and title, and I will also provide a link as well to make it easier for you. This book is absolutely beautiful. I laughed, I cried. It was just a beautiful story. It's basically a memoir of Bess's grandmother who passed away and their relationship. And she talks about her grandmother and who she was in her life and their relationship very intimately. And you get to know this lady by hearing Bess tell the stories about her. And the way that this writer went about this, it was exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. And I've listened to it 3 times now, and I'll probably listen a 4th because it was that good. So if you're looking for something that gives you humor and makes you feel good and really had an overall beautiful lesson on the relationships and the people in our lives, that's a great one to check out. So it's pretty much, you know, an entertainment book, but there was lessons in there as well. So I really highly recommend that book. It's the first one I'm mentioning on this video, and for good reason. And if you end up reading it, I'd love to hear from you and hear your thoughts on that because, like I said, I'm going on number 4 on listening again, and I believe Bess is the one that narrates it on Audible, and so she really captures her grandmother in the way that she reads the writing, her own writing, of course, but the way that she reads the character, and you just really hear their relationship, and it's a beautiful book. All right, book number 2 that I want to mention and recommend to you is Recipes for a Sacred Life by RIVVY. This one I did get a hard copy of, It is a great book. I actually only picked it up because it was on the suggested reading on the bottom of my screen when I was checking out the other books that I have. And I thought, you know what, why not take a chance? I'd never heard of this writer before, but I thought I'm going to go ahead and read it. And I am always a sucker for older wisdom. I love hearing people's life stories. I love to hear about their wisdom and their perspective on life, and definitely their life lessons. And RIVVY definitely did that in this book. She talks about different people that she's ran into in her life. I don't know how old she is, but I think that she's lived a pretty good amount of time, because she talks about 1970s and all of those days gone by, and she definitely captures beautiful stories and recipes that she says are for sacred life. And basically they're not cooking recipes, they are recipes as far as how to think, how to go about life, and how to live. And it's definitely inspiring, it's witty, and it's a fun read. So I wanted to make mention of it, and I hope that you enjoy this one. Okay, so I can't make a book list without a book on personal growth, on spirituality, personal growth, self-improvement, any of those topics, because that's mainly what I read in my more mature days. I like to definitely read books like that. So this one is a great one for personal growth, and it is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. This book is not a very long book. You can see it's pretty thin, so it's pretty easy to read, and the chapters are short, so you could just kind of read a couple pages if you have time. I highly recommend it though, because it's great for personal growth. It really teaches you how your brain sort of works and how your perspective is sort of shaped by your life experiences. And it's giving you some tips, and it's what it's called the 4 agreements in here, because it's telling you basically what you've been taught and how to kind of rewire that in your life to live a more fulfilling experience of your life, and to help you kind of free your mind from some things. And I really, you know, some of these things are hard to read, because not because it's actually hard to read, but just because when you realize and you see yourself in some of these things, and you start to look back and kind of go, oof, I did that there. And when you move further on in your life and you apply these things, it is difficult to apply them at times, because we are emotional creatures, and sometimes you could be angry or annoyed or whatever it is, and to have to kind of do a lot of self-reflection. And that's exactly what this book kind of makes you do. It makes you look at your own behavior and try to rise up and be better in your interactions with people, and how you see them, and your perceptions in life. And so if you're looking for something a little bit more deeper, this is a book that I recommend reading. Like I said, it's not very long, so if you don't have a lot of time, it's probably one that you can get through pretty easily. Otherwise, you could do Audible, like I mentioned earlier, but I will leave that one below as well. Okay, so the last one I have is The One and Only Ivan by Katherine Applegate. Well, this one is one that I read to my daughter. So if you are like me at all, or like me and my daughter, we like to read together. And sometimes she'll have her own book and I'll have my book, and I put like the timer on and I make her sit down and read with me, because I want her to develop that habit as well. But a lot of times I like to read to her. And so what I've been doing is finding chapter books that we can kind of enjoy together, that are both adventure style books, or books that I know that she would be interested in, as well as myself. And I came across one, and I thought, you know, I know this isn't a channel for kids necessarily, but I know there's a lot of moms on here, and if you love to read to your children, this is one that I just had to mention. Now, we also have a few of the other ones of this book, but I believe Ivan's the first one that she wrote. So she did The One and Only Bob and a couple of different ones, but this one in particular I want to recommend to you if you are reading with your kids, or like to read to your kids, or maybe you're looking for a good book for your kids. This is a great one. It's beautifully written. She's a very talented writer, and it really tells you a story, a true story actually, of a gorilla that was held in captivity for 27 years, I think. And it tells you the story of him and his perspective of that experience. And it just is heartwarming and a little bit sad. So I will warn you that it's kind of a tearjerker in certain parts, but it talks about friendship and love. And it's just a beautiful children's story that I even enjoyed too. So it's a good one to read with your kids, or to even have maybe your preteens read if they're into chapter books. I know this is a little bit long for a smaller child, but if you're reading to them, they probably enjoy it. But that's it. That's my list of books today that I wanted to recommend to you. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it. If you do like videos like this about books and want me to talk a little bit more about recommended reading, because as I told you before, that I do read quite a bit. I'm already waiting on my book order as we speak, so I will have probably a few more books to recommend. If you like that sort of thing, please give this video a thumbs up, and also hit that subscribe button, because every single week I post new videos on elevating your everyday with from scratch cooking, natural home remedies, and all things homemaking. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.